Hey everyone, this is Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot, and welcome back to the channel. We're in the shack again, and I'm just reflecting on my year-long journey with POTA, and I have some tips. Stand by right after the intro. All right, everyone, this is Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot, and welcome back to my humble shack here in St. Antoine, New Brunswick. It's been a year since I started getting involved with Parks on the Air, and as a hunter at least, and my 1 year anniversary as, I'll call it an activator, although I really don't like that terminology, activating. I'll say it this way, it's been a year since I went out and started doing portable ham radio from Parks on the Air locations. That sounds better. Anyway, I've come up with 5 very straightforward tips, best practices for those who are thinking about getting involved with Parks on the Air and just not sure how to get started. Your mileage may vary, and everybody's going to have opinions. And you know what they say about opinions? They're like a word that starts with A and ends with holes. Everybody's got one. So take mine with a grain of salt, and I hope you take 1 or 2 gems out of it. And let's get into my top 5 things I wish I knew about POTA before I got started. So point number 1, don't sweat the small stuff. Just get out there and activate. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things wrong. You're going to set up in the wrong location. You think you're in the park boundary and you're not. Don't stress it. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody misses calls when we're logging. Everybody gets kerfuffled when there's a pilot for the first time. Don't sweat it. You are in control of your activation. Just go out there and have fun and don't sweat it. And the best way to learn is just to go out and do it. That's it. Just jump both feet into the deep end and get going. Now, for me, that's easy because I kind of operate that way. I was never really a manual type person. In my whole entire IT career, I did some formal training, but everything I learned just by experimenting, setting up servers in my basement. So I think same thing works for Parks on the Air. Just get out and do it. You're going to make mistakes. Some goofball is going to point it out to you. You ignore them and you focus on the ones that are, building you up versus tearing you down. Number 2, now I wish this existed when I first got started, because when I did my first Parks on the Air operation out at Mill Creek Nature Area in Moncton, back in early January, I think it was January the 4th, 2024. So not even a year yet at the time of recording this video. My first activation, I used a Google spreadsheet. And oh my Lord, talk about painful. Looking at the clock, the watch or the clock on the computer, and then getting back home and trying to figure out how to convert that to an ADI file. Again, I didn't know what I didn't know. Remember, point 1, just go out and do it, right? And you learn as you go. Then I learned about different software. Hammers, I think, was one of them I went to. Just jump right to it. Go to POLO. POLO, for me, is the best software that you can use for Parks on the Air and others. I'll get to the others later. But Parks on the Air operations, because it does it all for you. It spots you. It keeps all the information that you need to know in a log. It does QRZ lookups. It keeps a database of all your parks. So if you don't have, cell coverage, you can still go and click on a button and it will kind of figure out where you are, and you can put the grid square and it'll tell you where the parks are. So it's got some pretty powerful features. So just use POLO. Don't even bother looking at anything else. Just use POLO. And I don't get I have no endorsements with POLO. I'm a huge raving fan of the software. And just use that one. Point number 3, and probably the most critical point, don't spend money on stupid stuff. What do I mean by that? All you need to play ham radio in a park is a radio, a battery. I use a 50 amp hour battery. I started off with a 15 amp hour battery, lasted me about 3 hours or 350 QSOs. Now I have a 50 amp hour. I actually have a 100 amp hour battery. You probably just see it right there over the side of my shoulder. And you need a good battery. You need a good radio. You may need an antenna tuner. You're going to need some coax and stuff like that. And then you need a really good antenna. And that's that's all you really need. Guys will tell you about all this other stuff and go boxes and go kits and blah 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 blah. You don't need any of that stuff to go and activate a park or do Parks on the Air operations. I said activate. To do Parks on the Air operations, you just need a radio, a tuner, maybe a tuner, some coax cable, a power source, and an antenna. Did I say antenna already? And an antenna. Which leads me into point number 4. Do yourself a favor and get a great antenna. That doesn't mean you need to spend a bunch of money on a great antenna. a simple dipole works wonders. I have never been a fan of these Faraday cloths or ground elements and putting this antenna on the ground. Some guys swear by it. It's not my thing. My military training taught me that wasn't the way to do it. We never did it in the military for long-range communications. Never put an antenna on the ground with Faraday cloth or ground element. So my recommendation to you guys getting started in POTA, invest in a good antenna. Now I use, my main antenna is an end-fed half-wave from myantennas.com. Again, I don't get paid by them. I love the product. I got numerous people on POTA now and other programs that have bought myantennas.com end-fed half-waves and swear by it. The end-fed half-wave from myantennas.com will run you $150, $200 depending on which one you get. I got the high power one because I like to run higher power sometimes. But end-fed half-wave from myantennas.com is a great end-fed half-wave. And when I use that, and try whenever possible to get it up at least a half wavelength from the ground on 15 meters. So I try to get it up at least 7.5 meters or 5 meters off the ground for 10. The problem is the lower the antenna to the ground, you get more vertical NVIS, although NVIS kind of tops out at 7 megahertz. But you get something similar. You get a lot more. Your signal doesn't, when it's higher up, when it's at least half wavelength up from the ground, you got a lower takeoff angle, and therefore you can work more DX. And that's what my passion with portable operations is, working DX. If I just wanted to work some guy in Maine, I would just put an antenna 10 feet off the ground and call CQ. But I want to work guys in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, and Australia, not so much guys just down the street from me. So, and whenever I can't put my end-fed half-wave up because of space restrictions or travel, I have a BB7V vertical antenna, which is not a small vertical antenna. And I usually try to get it up 3 or 4 of my Princess Auto tent poles. Go back and check some of my other videos on the Princess Auto tent poles. You can buy them here in Canada for a 4-foot section for about $6 these days. Still, that's about $2 more since I first started buying them, but still a good deal at $6. And I put it up on there, 3 or 4 sections, and I can talk all over the world on my BB7V vertical. Now the ears on it aren't that great, but I still have 200 or 300 QSO activations using that as vertical antenna. And worst comes to worst, where I can't put anything up because of really space restrictions or other unforeseen things that happen, then I have my ATAS 120 that's mounted to my pickup truck. And I've talked to Japan and Australia on that. So, invest in a great antenna. That is probably the biggest takeaway I can tell you, is get a good antenna and stay away from crap. Plain and simple, there's a ton of crap out there. I have a hard time understanding why people can't get 10 QSOs in an activation, but now I know why. Most of the time it's because they have a bad antenna. And last but not least, point number 5, there is a huge, big world out there outside of parks on the air. Now, when I got started back again a year ago doing hunting and coming up on a year for going out and actually putting parks on the air, I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I know there's worldwide flora and fauna, there's islands on the air, summits on the air, castles on the air, bunkers. Did I say lighthouses? Lighthouses. There are a ton of programs out there that you can piggyback on. And the one I love to piggyback on is Worldwide Flora and Fauna. Check out Worldwide Flora and Fauna. Just Google it, or WWFF.co. Chances are, now this doesn't happen all the time, but chances are your parks on the air park that you're at is also Worldwide Flora and Fauna Park. So, and POLO, remember that logging software I told you about a few minutes ago, will spot you on that as well. So not only do you have the Parks on the Air crowd, you're also getting Worldwide Flora and Fauna crowd. And trust me, if you want to work DX, Worldwide Flora and Fauna is where you need to be at. So just piggyback on both. Now, how you submit your logs is different on all of them, but you can get their awards program, you get Parks on the Air awards program, and heck, you can piggyback on other programs that are out there. You never know, there might be a state county program that you can go and activate a state county. Just keep your ear to the ground and find out what's going on. Talk to other guys in the area too. So there you have it, my 5 things I wish I knew when I first got started in Parks on the Air. And I have a bonus for you. You want to know what the bonus is? The bonus is, don't overcomplicate it. Just keep it simple, stupid. That's my philosophy through my life. Just keep it simple and everything will work perfectly. The minute you try to introduce complexities is when things start going sideways. Keep it simple. That's it. My name's Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. You can reach out to me through my QRZ profile if you wanted to ask me a question person privately. And yeah, it's just go and have fun. That's the most important thing. And all right, we'll see you guys in the video whenever that will be. Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. We're out of here. I'm going to go play some DX.